Hi everybody and welcome to Go Hobby. This is my 50-gallon cube reef tank. I've recently set it up and I'm looking forward to getting some corals and some inverts in here eventually, but right now it's too soon for that. You know, when I was setting up this tank, my biggest concern was the noise that might come from it. I'm setting it up here in my living room where my TV is and where people meet to have conversations. And I was real hesitant to even do this because I didn't want any noise coming from the fish tank. I have another video here on my channel showing all of the components that I used to make an extra quiet reef tank setup, so go check that out if you're interested in things like protein skimmers and pumps and such. But in this video we're just going to take a closer look at how I set up the plumbing, because usually one of the noisiest things about a reef tank is the gurgling and sloshing of water. So as we make our way to the back of the tank, you can see that I'm using an overflow system. This tank has an overflow system built into the back. There's a couple holes drilled in the bottom of the tank, and you can see that this main hole here is running under a full siphon. So that helps eliminate any sloshing noises of the water getting sucked down the drain. Now this is really important if you want a very quiet reef tank. You have to run a full siphon down your main drain line. The problem with that means that the water level is a little bit trickier to control. It's going to be rising up slightly above the drain. So what you need to have a second drain as an emergency overflow. And by adjusting your valves below the tank down in the sump, you can get the water flow to balance out just right so that you have just a little trickle of water going down this emergency drain pipe. So let's go down to the sump and take a closer look at how that all works. Here's my sump, and here are my plumbing lines leading in and out. Let's take a closer look. The fat line here in the middle, this is my main drain. This is running under a full siphon, and I control the siphon using this valve here. The valve up here serves no purpose. This was just cemented into the system when I bought it used. And this is actually 40mm PVC, which I don't like because it's hard to find fittings for it at the local Home Depot. So I sanded down a 1-inch coupling. It fits right into the 40mm PVC like a glove. So from here on down, it's all 1-inch PVC. Now I've cemented it at all the joints except for right here. That allows me to pull it apart and remove the sump from the cabinet when I need to clean it or just do whatever. This line here, this is my emergency overflow, and you can see that there's just a little trickle of water coming through it. I like to use this soft, thick, flexible hose that really dampens the noise from that trickle of water. You really can't hear it. Now another important thing is to make sure that both your emergency line and your main line exit within the water in your sump. You don't want water cascading and crashing into the sump, so make sure your PVC and your vinyl lines are long enough to reach down to your water column there. Now finally, this line here, this is the line that's connected to my return pump. It's a Seche Synchro Silent 4.0. I've got another video reviewing that. You can take a closer look if interested. Finally, I've got a filter sock down here. Normally I've got that pulled up more, but just to make it easier to see everything going on in this video, I kind of pushed it down and out of the way. The main thing with the setup is that you need to run a full siphon in your down tube here, and you've got to use this valve to manage the siphon flow, and that could be a little finicky. Just the slightest move of this valve could be the difference between water cascading down too rapidly down this emergency line, or no water coming down at all, and then you lose your siphon in the main line. If you lose your siphon, it'll be noisy. You'll hear water cascading and crashing down this PVC tube. It will be noisy. You won't like it if your goal is to set up a very quiet reef tank. Some people aren't bothered by that, but I don't think it sounds very good, so I'm all for the full siphon with the emergency drain line setup. Alright, so there you have it. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, please take the time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and come back for a variety of videos on a bunch of hobby-related interests. I'll see you next time here on Go Hobby.